All right, Cricket Today here with another special segment. I'm here again with Daniel Cherny, Code Sports journalist who knows the ins and outs of Test cricket. How you going, Dan? And thanks for coming on.
Pleasure to be with you.
Thank you very much, Dan. Saw you right how much pressure Carey was under. Everyone was talking about it before the last test. He obviously crushed all of that pressure, producing an amazing knock of 98 not out. Where do you think that ranks amongst the great wicketkeeper innings, and how amazing was it for him to do this under so much pressure?
Yeah, I mean, it was a critical innings in the context of the match, and I suppose his career as well. And I do believe he was under the pump. I think particularly if he'd gotten out in a similar way as he had in those previous few innings, I think there would have been even more pressure. Right up there. I mean, you look back at Adam Gilchrist, 149 not out there against Pakistan in Hobart with Justin Langer. And I think this is, right up there with that innings, given the context and given the match situation and the importance of a win for Australia's World Test Championship push. So, and then when you add his career context and all these things through post the Johnny Bairstow incidents and some of the narrative around that. So, I think certainly it's right up there.
Yeah, no, I think you've hit the nail on the head. Then, do you think he was probably in the back of his mind thinking of his playing for his spot, or did he just sort of knuckle down and just get the job done by the looks of it?
Hard to know. I mean, he's pretty. Coy's probably a bit of a stretch, but he's pretty guarded in terms of. Certainly he always gives a pretty stoic impression that he's not worn down by these things, and that he's focused on the match situation. That he projects calm, project confidence and self belief, and I'm sure that's there to an extent. But I'd be surprised I don't think he'd be human if he wasn't broadly aware of. The context of the broader context of his career, and particularly, with him, there's a reality to it because he's been there already with the one-day team where he's dropped in the World Cup and he's lost a 20 spot as well. So, I suppose when something like that happens, you probably never quite feel as comfortable as you might have otherwise. And he's got to play a very good player like Josh Inglis breathing down his neck on the back of that big century he made for WA last week. So. Look, only he will know that for sure, but I anticipate there would be an element,
Yeah, no, absolutely, and he just did so well. That obviously a match-winning knock, and we absolutely love that as Aussies. So much chat around Steve Smith is my next one about him opening. Obviously, saw your chat with Aussie coach Andrew McDonald. He said it's probably a bit unfair to judge Smith at this stage in his opening position in the batting lineup. Do you think his opening spot should be up for grabs, or do you think it's just all a bit of a work in progress? And he's done so much with the bat in his career that he sort of deserves to keep that spot in the opening position.
Look, I think it's you go back to what the debate was around when they were looking to replace David Warner, and I suppose that allowed them to bring Cameron Green back in the side and include that. Again, pretty small sample size, but it's been very successful or pretty successful to this point. I mean, Green effectively won them a test with his batting in Wellington last week. Look, Smith, it's only a couple of tests ago that he made that 90 in Brisbane, but he does look to be getting out in similar ways, to struggling outside off stump, starting to know quite where his off stump is, missing balls that you feel like in the past he wouldn't have missed, and sort of not quite knowing when to play. He's sort of getting out more conventional opener style ways, and it's just not clicking for him. And the question there is this a sign of his general decline, or is he just not suited to this particular position? And as we know, Australia's got 8 months until the next test.
Big gap,
So they've got a long time to consider these things and weigh up whether it is this is the best configuration. I mean, they've been adamant that these are the 6 best batsmen they have. And I think that's probably they've been reasonably vindicated. But the other thing is that there are other guys in that top 6 who haven't been performing particularly well. Travis Head's had a really poor summer overall. Marnus had at 90, but had obviously been struggling before that. Usman Khawaja's not firing all cylinders. Mitch Marsh didn't have a great series against the West Indies. So look, it's just not all as a collective, they're not going particularly well. My gut feel is he probably will keep that spot for the home summer. But the other thing that Steve Smith you've got to consider here is he's at 35 and he's made murmurings about his future generally. So I mean, it's a thought. It's also what he's going to want to do. But I think one thing is I wouldn't say is I wouldn't. I mean, I think Andrew McDonald is right in the sense that, if they brought in Marcus Harris or Cameron Bancroft or someone uncapped and they'd come in and they were averaging 20 out of up to 4 tests, look, there'd be scrutiny, but I think
Wouldn't be as harsh, yeah.
They may also say that's too early to be making sweeping statements. So, and just a final point on Smith is, I think if he is to open, we probably just generally have to reconsider what is acceptable for him. I mean, and what we should be expecting from him. I mean, we can't be expecting him, certainly this batting climate, in the stage of his career, and particularly his openings, to be averaging probably 50. I mean, if he's averaging high 30s, you probably take that. Again, there's a bit of recalibration that needs to be done here.
Yeah, I think you made a really good point there. If he's averaging in that high 30s, then most likely the Aussies are getting off to a good start in that top order, and that's okay. But it'll just be interesting to see, what happens over the next 8 months with no test, as you mentioned. Finally, I just want to talk about the World Test Championship table. I saw a lot of people all over Twitter and different things talking about how it sort of shapes at the moment. So you got Australia leap above New Zealand, which was great for the Aussies, into second into that World Test Championship table. Just wanted to see your opinion. You've got Australia, India, and England, obviously the three probably biggest nations in cricket, with that 31 tests they've played. Then the other 6 combined have only played 23 tests. What are your thoughts on all that? Do you think that's fair? And is that the right way to go about that championship table?
I mean, the thing about the World Test Championships is it's I think it's broadly a very good concept. Got a lot of merit, and it's made just some exciting scenes and provided that great context. But the problem is you're trying to play. There are these bilateral commitments and these individual board considerations that are trying to be held within this broader framework. I mean, clearly, if you were devising it purely just as a league, everyone would play everyone, and you'd all play the same amount of games.
It's not that simple, I guess.
They're trying to have their cake and eat it too, really. I mean, it's a hybrid compromise model where the reality is, because it's not a central, there's not central funding. It's not the money that's generated from the TV rights, unlike other sports.
It's not a whole thing, is it? Yeah,
where the whole league is the TV rights get generated. The economics don't stack up unless there is that central pool. So it's not ideal. I mean, it's not. And then I think also it's what makes it a harder system to follow, because you don't have a conventional. It's the English Premier League and every team's playing
exactly
games, and you might have a game or two in hand at any given time, but roughly you know where you're at. Whereas here it's a convoluted percentage system, and not everyone plays each other once. And look, it's the best. It's better than nothing. It's better than what I think they had in the past. I think it is broadly good. But it's not ideal. But we're not going to get. I mean, what the options are, if you want uniformity, the options are you either have the shorter series when the big three play each other. Do you want a 3-test Ashes series or a 2-test Ashes series? And conversely, you extend series like Bangladesh and West Indies to play for 5 tests, which is just not going to happen.
No, it's not viable.
There's not the demand for that. So this is where it's at. It's, as I said, it's not ideal. It's a sad reality, and unless they have, and this is why there's been this push. To get a global funding model that's better, and so that you've got to, if they want it to work with every team, because clearly the economics don't stack up for individual boards to play it, so it's got to be
a global one. It's
got to be global. It's got to be shared from the same global pool. But at the moment, the big boards aren't willing to budge on that, so this is what we're left with.
I think overall, like you mentioned, it's a at least a table and a final and things like that, which we never had before. So I really like that side. But I think I had a look at Bangladesh only played 2 tests, a 4th. It is just a bit of a weird sort of table. And they might have to fix, like you said, a bit of a more of a global sort of look at it in the future, which would be interesting. I think that's it. Dan, that was really good. Thank you for all that insight. Check out Daniel Cherny on Code Sports and some great articles on there, and all over Twitter at Daniel Cherny. Thanks for coming on, Dan.
No worries, Liam. Always.
Thank you. That's it for Cricket Today. Done. We're out.